Atlanta is known for a lot of hot political spots, but I am so glad to be back at the legendary Manuel's Tavern. And I'm joined today by Megan Maloof, and she has done me a huge favor to really spend some time with us today on this episode to talk about this amazing place that has a rich history, full of a family business that has been able to thrive for decades.
Yeah.
But what I really want to start off today talking about is, how did Manuel's Tavern get created? Like, how did you guys come up with a restaurant idea, and why this location in Atlanta?
Well, so when my great-grandfather moved over here from Lebanon, he wanted to build a billiards hall. So he built the Tip Top Club on Lucky Street, very close to City Hall. And so he had public figures coming in all the time, just, being able to sit and talk about politics, about anything that they possibly could, shoot some billiards, have a nice time after, working on all this stuff that was so heavy and so important to the people of Atlanta and the people of Georgia, that it really inspired my grandfather to rebuild that establishment after the Tip Top Club burned down. And so there's a few pieces around here that are actually parts of the Tip Top Club that my grandfather felt very inspired by to create his own establishment. And in that, he sort of decided, I'm going to also run for government.
Yeah.
And so he became the first CEO of DeKalb County.
Yes.
We're kind of a hub. Jimmy Carter announced his run for governor here. We've always just been sort of a centerfold for politics of Atlanta.
So take me through how you guys decided to be in this location. Mm-hmm. Why was this location selected, and what was going on during that time where it was created? What year?
So this establishment was built in 1956. The Tip Top Club was in the 1920s. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to move somewhere where, my grandfather's business thinking could, truly benefit this place. And so he put us a block away from a dry county back in the day.
Right.
So all the Emory students and all the Georgia Tech students would be coming here to drink.
So DeKalb County was dry.
DeKalb County was dry.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And Emory was literally, a short.
It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah.
So it's right down the road basically, and they would come here to drink, and my mom, an Emory student, was actually coming here all the time. Okay. And that's actually how my parents met.
Awesome. Now, your mom's name?
Margie.
Yeah. So Margie. So Brian, your father, and Marjorie met here at Manuel's Tavern in
probably late 70s.
Late 70s, right.
Late 70s, early 80s. I'm not super sure, but there's a very cute photo of my mom with a huge perm.
I would love to see that photo. You got to give us that photo.
I'll happily show you. But they met here, and my dad looked at her and said, I'm going to marry her one day. And then one of our bar managers at the time said, you better do it right, because she is a great tipper. So,
a beautiful woman who gives great tips.
Exactly.
Hard to find nowadays.
Exactly.
So take us through the history of this place and how it became such a politically connected place with Republicans and Democrats.
Sure.
But when I moved here in 1996 and I graduated from Clark, Atlanta in the early 2000s, Manuel's Tavern was where everyone met. Young campaign staffers. You would come here and see state senators, state reps. So how did it kind of evolve? I know your grandfather became the first CEO of DeKalb County, Manuel Maloof, but how did you guys continue to stay so relevant in these political times? And to just take us, who are some of the people that have come here over the years?
Sure. How many other political bars do you see around anywhere?
That's true. Yeah,
we're
many.
1 in a million.
Yeah.
I've met Jimmy Carter here. It was New Year's Eve, and I was doing dry storage inventory, which is, the most exciting thing a person can do. And then my dad comes down the stairs and he says, yo, you want to meet Jimmy Carter? And I said, that's crazy, sure. And so I meet Jimmy Carter, and the first thing I go is, it's an honor to meet you, Mr. President. And then he says to me, I think I have one of your cousin's cabinets in my office right now, which is the craziest thing that has ever been said to a person from a president.
Yeah.
And he's just a genuinely nice guy. He gave me a kiss on the cheek, so I call that my New Year's kiss. But my sisters met Bill Clinton. You know, we had Stacey Abrams here for a little bit, John Ossoff. I mean, it's kind of a hubbub. We are the grassroots of what we are, because one of the first things that you'll notice when you walk in is that there's no music.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's because my grandfather wanted to establish a place where people can talk and have communication in any sort of capacity. And he felt like if you had music, they sort of stunted that a little bit, enough that you would not be able to talk. He wanted to create a place where people paid the same amount of money for the same beer, whether they made $50 a week, $50,000 a month. Like, he wanted them to be able to have a nice, genuine conversation. And I think that's where, you know, this sort of harmony in politics comes from.
So how's it been? You guys have been here since 1956. Now we're about to enter in 2026. Take me through some of the challenges that you've had to keep your prestige and reputation, but with the economy being the way it is, you know, pre-COVID, post-COVID, trying to find good workers. Like, what's the secret sauce at Manuel's Tavern? So
I have a pretty unique perspective on some of this, because even when I wasn't working here, I knew everything that was going on here. So during the housing crisis in 2008, my father was like, it wasn't like he found the hardships in owning a restaurant like this, because when you own a restaurant through like the housing crisis, through the pandemic, the first thing that tends to go are bars and restaurants. That's not priority number one for people. It's the grocery store, it's meds, it's all that kind of stuff. But the big thing that we found was that the community is such a blessing. That's the best thing that has ever come out of this place, is the community and like the opportunities that come out of it. So in December of 2020, we had such a terrible time being able to keep up that at one point, one of our barflies, Angelo Fuster, big in politics.
Angelo is actually here now.
Yes.
At the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just went up and said hello to him.
Yeah, he's a wonderful man. He created a GoFundMe for us. And, you know, it opened up at night, and then I woke up the next morning, and it was unbelievable how much like traction happened after this. I was in tears. I was at the nail salon, and I had my nail over here, and I was scrolling and updating the GoFundMe while they were swapping. And then I get a phone call, and it's my dad, and he says, "Hey, so we're super slammed right now. Could you come in?" With my fresh nails and my boots. And I just came in here, and like, it was one of the most humbling experiences that I've ever had. We have this Christmas party that we have every year. And the tradition, ever since I was a kid, was to put on It's a Wonderful Life. And it just touched so differently that year that like, I well up when I think about it.
So real quick,
Sure.
The walls, and we're going to show a video of the walls, and you know, your viewers will be able to see that. I see Barack Obama on the wall as well. He's been here several times.
Oh, yeah.
But take us through the idea of capturing that history. And I also, you shared with me earlier that there's a portrait that Jimmy Carter, artwork, gave to you. I saw the Clintons, but a lot of local folks. You know, when I see the late Senator Vincent Ford, who was a very controversial but well-respected Democratic state senator here in Georgia. But how have you been able to maintain civility with it kind of being labeled as a kind of a Democratic hangout, but Republicans come here too? And is there any kind of marketing that goes in? Because I know like a lot of watch parties, election night, if you get elected in Georgia, you want to be here. But what's been the sort of strategy by maintaining that political bar that doesn't have music?
Yeah.
And you still have the original bar here, right? From when you started in 1956, or did that come from the tip top?
Well, so half of it is from the tip top. So there's some that's feathered and some that's got claw feet.
Nice.
The feathered, like the shorter part of the bar, that's from the tip top.
Wonderful.
So after the fire that took it down, a bunch of patrons picked it up and they carried it out. So
I did not know that story.
Yeah, it's a very wild story to think about.
So again, the question, the wall, the significance of it, what does it mean to people? And have you been able to keep the sort of bipartisanship where it's kind of known as a Democratic hangout, but Republicans come here too, and maintain that civility in conversations?
I mean, It definitely has been a little harder with, the extremes becoming the more prevalent thing. But, you always find grace in the good. And there is always a person who wants to be heard and wants to talk. And, we're always an open seat for some of those people.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I just encourage everyone to, when you're in Atlanta, even if you're on the east, west, north side of town, to come to Manuel's Tavern.
602 North Highland Avenue, Virginia Highlands.
And what should they order when they come in?
Ooh.
What's your most popular?
So my go-to is the French dip. I like to get it with sauteed mushrooms and provolone cheese. We make that au jus fresh, and it makes that whole kitchen just aromatic. It's fantastic.
And what alcohol do you sell the most? Is it the beers?
Oh, we're a beer bar, babe,
bar.
but we'll make you anything.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you all, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Theron's Take. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me. I'm going to be back, and we would love to check in with you maybe 6 months now, a year from now. And we'll definitely be back here as the political climate continues to heat up in Georgia.
Of course.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.